"Leave her alone." The trembling voice of a young girl echoed across the crowded schoolyard, but her words were swallowed by laughter, sharp, cruel, and echoing like broken glass. The morning sun fell on the campus of Hillside High, a school where wealth and reputation mattered more than kindness. In the corner of the playground, a group of students stood in a tight circle, blocking the view of passing teachers. At the center of that circle was a girl, dark-skinned, thin, and clutching her worn-out backpack like a shield. Her name was Maya. She was quiet, observant, and always carried an air of resilience. But to the wealthy kids who ruled the hallways, she was invisible until they needed someone to mock. That morning, her silence became their entertainment. One boy, tall, broad, and cruelly confident, shoved her shoulder, making her stumble. His friends laughed, cheering him on. No one knew who Maya truly was. No one could guess that behind her fragile appearance stood a name powerful enough to shake Hollywood itself. She wasn't just Maya, the shy girl from nowhere. She was Maya Diesel, the adopted daughter of one of the most recognized men in the world, and the truth was about to change everything. Maya had always known she was different, adopted at age 7. She had grown up in a home filled with warmth and love. Vin Diesel, the man the world knew as a Hollywood legend, was simply Dad to her. He treated her no differently than his biological children. Her room filled with the same laughter, bedtime stories, and family dinners. But Vin also knew the weight of fame. He protected his children fiercely, keeping their lives private. When Maya entered Hillside High, few knew who her father was. She carried his last name, but to her classmates, Diesel was just another word. No one made the connection. For Maya, that anonymity was both a blessing and a curse. She wanted to live a normal teenage life, but normalcy was hard to find in Hillside High. The school was divided between the privileged and the forgotten. Designer clothes, flashy cars, and luxurious vacations were the standard currency among students. Maya, with her thrift store sweaters and simple sneakers, stood out like ink on white paper. She didn't complain. Her father had taught her humility, telling her that strength wasn't in what she wore, but in how she carried herself. Still, the gap between her and the others was a chasm she could never cross. The bullying began subtly, whispered jokes in the cafeteria, rolling eyes in class whenever she raised her hand, small shoves in the hallway. But as months passed, the cruelty sharpened. At the center of it all was Tyler Grant. Tyler was the school's golden boy. His father was a wealthy real estate mogul, his mother a former model. Tyler thrived on attention. Captain of the basketball team, admired by teachers, feared by peers, he lived as if the world belonged to him, and Maya, quiet and unassuming, became his favorite target. "Hey, charity case," he'd sneer whenever she passed by. "Lose your way to the donation box?" Sometimes he'd yank her books from her arms, tossing them into puddles. Other times he'd mock her accent, though Maya spoke with perfect clarity, just to draw laughs from his friends. Maya endured it all silently. She believed in patience, in not fighting fire with fire. But each insult carved invisible scars on her heart. Her only sanctuary was her sketchbook. In it, she poured her soul, drawing faces, places, and dreams. Each page was a world where she wasn't invisible, where she wasn't weak. At home, Vin noticed her quietness but respected her space. "Remember, Maya," he often said, "strength isn't about hitting back. It's about knowing when to rise." She would nod, hiding the pain behind a faint smile. But in the unforgiving walls of Hillside High, her father's wisdom was tested daily, and on one fateful afternoon, that test reached its breaking point. The day began like any other. Maya walked into the cafeteria, clutching her lunch tray. Her sandwich was homemade, neatly wrapped in foil by the family's housekeeper. Around her, students flaunted their takeout boxes and overpriced smoothies. She sat alone at the far end of a table, sketchbook beside her. But peace never lasted long. Tyler's voice cut through the noise. "Well, well, what do we have here? Little Miss Nobody doodling again?" He plopped himself across from her, his friends surrounding the table like vultures. Maya kept her eyes on her sandwich. Please, Tyler, just leave me alone. Leave you alone? He mocked, grabbing her sketchbook. He flipped through the pages, his laughter booming. Look at this. She actually thinks she's an artist. His friends leaned in, snickering. One tore out a page and crumpled it into a ball. Maya's eyes widened in horror. Her drawings were her heart, her voice. Stop. She cried, reaching for her sketchbook. But Tyler shoved her back with ease, sending her tray crashing to the floor. The cafeteria fell silent. All eyes turned to the scene, but no one moved to help. Tell me something, Maya, Tyler sneered, waving the sketchbook above his head. Do you really think this trash will take you anywhere? People like you don't make it big. People like me do. Tears welled in Maya's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She stood, her voice shaking but steady. You don't know anything about me, Tyler smirked. I know enough. Poor girl. No friends, no future. He leaned closer, whispering cruelly. Even your parents probably regret keeping you. The words stabbed deeper than any shove could. Maya froze, her heart pounding. The sketchbook slipped from Tyler's hands, falling to the floor. Then, without warning, he shoved her again. Harder this time. Maya stumbled backward, her head nearly striking the edge of a table. Gasps filled the room. Before anyone could react, a voice thundered from the doorway. What did you just do? The cafeteria turned as one. Standing in the entrance was a figure no one expected to see. Broad-shouldered, bald, with a presence that silenced the room. Vin Diesel himself. He had come to surprise Maya, visiting her school between film shoots. But what he walked into froze him in place. His daughter, trembling, surrounded by jeering students, and one boy standing too close with guilt written on his face. Maya's eyes widened. Dad, she whispered. The silence was deafening. Tyler blinked, his arrogance faltering. Wait, that's Vin Diesel? The students erupted into whispers. Phones were pulled out, screens flashing. Vin stepped forward, his gaze locked on Tyler. His voice was calm but heavy as stone. Did you just lay your hands on my daughter? The word daughter struck like lightning. The entire cafeteria recoiled. Maya Diesel, the bullied girl no one respected, was his child, Tyler stammered. I didn't mean... Vin didn't shout. He didn't need to. His silence, his presence, spoke louder than rage. He knelt beside Maya, gently lifting her sketchbook from the floor. He placed it back in her hands. Don't ever let anyone tell you your dreams don't matter, he said softly. Maya clutched the book, tears finally spilling. Then Vin turned to Tyler, his eyes cold. Apologize, Tyler swallowed hard. The boy who once commanded fear now trembled before a man who embodied it. I'm sorry, he mumbled. Louder, Vin demanded. I'm sorry. Tyler's voice cracked, echoing across the silent cafeteria. Vin's eyes narrowed. You're not apologizing to me. You're apologizing to her. Tyler turned to Maya, shame burning his face. I'm sorry, Maya. The room held its breath. Maya, wiping her tears, simply nodded. She didn't need revenge. She only needed her truth to be seen. Word of the incident spread like wildfire. By the end of the day, everyone in school knew the truth. The quiet, bullied girl was the daughter of one of the most famous men in the world. But for Maya, the revelation wasn't about fame. It was about dignity. In the principal's office, Vin sat beside Maya, his arm protectively around her. The principal, flustered, stammered apologies. Mr. Diesel, please understand we had no idea. Vin cut him off with a firm voice. This isn't about who I am. It's about who my daughter is. She deserves respect like any other child. Maya looked at her father, her heart swelling. For the first time, she didn't feel invisible. She felt seen. Tyler and his parents were called in. His father's arrogance melted in Vin's presence, his mother wringing her hands nervously. Tyler sat pale and shaken, no trace of the cocky bully who had tormented Maya. Vin's words were simple but powerful. Strength isn't about belittling others. It's about lifting them up. Remember that. Tyler lowered his gaze, shame silencing him. When Maya left the office, students who once mocked her now avoided her eyes. Some whispered apologies, others stared in awe. But Maya didn't care for their sudden change. What mattered was her father's hand in hers, grounding her, reminding her she was never truly alone. Life at Hillside High shifted after that day. Tyler's reign of cruelty ended, his confidence shattered. Students grew cautious, aware that the smallest act of bullying could have consequences. But for Maya, the greatest change was internal. She no longer hid behind silence. She carried her sketchbook openly, drawing without fear. Some classmates approached her with kindness, others with curiosity. But Maya knew her worth no longer depended on their approval. One afternoon, as she sat beneath a tree sketching, Tyler approached quietly. His face was different, humbled, uncertain. "Maya," he said softly, "I really am sorry. Not because of your dad, but because I was wrong." Maya studied him, then gave a faint smile. "It's never too late to be better." He nodded, walking away. It wasn't friendship, but it was a start. At home, Vin found her sketchbook on the kitchen table. Flipping through the pages, he marveled at her talent. "You have a gift," he told her. "One day, the world will see it." Maya hugged him, whispering, "Thank you for believing in me." The story of Maya Diesel wasn't about fame, nor about power. It was about resilience, the strength to endure, the courage to rise, and the wisdom to forgive. And as the sun set behind their home, Maya closed her eyes with a smile, knowing she carried not just her father's name, but his strength in her heart. Because true power is not in who your parents are, or how the world sees you. True power lies in never letting cruelty define you, and that was Maya Diesel's story, a story of pain, courage, and a victory that needed no applause.